Haiku, sing. Haiku, sing.
The time has come for me to sing an ancient husky melody written many years ago by my people in the snow. The time has come for me to sing an ancient husky melody written many years ago by my people in the Fellow husky, don't forget, once upon a time you were not a pet. You were running wild and free, so we sing this song as a memory.
I love it. Where do you dig up this stuff?
Well, I go to the Kiffness, but I will look at just about anything, that's
Yeah.
fun. I like to see dancing animals, it's always
Oh,
fun to,
yeah, but vocally loquacious animals that sing, that's extra special. Singing
yes,
cats and dogs.
I think that this is the thing that puts Kiffness on the map. Don't you all agree?
It's good enough for me anyway.
Yeah. So how was your week? How was your week?
How was my week? Oh my God, I've just been doing work for you, work for me. I'm still trying to get somebody from the Democratic Party to contact me. My artwork, Kamala Harris, I want to make this available.
Democratic Party here, George Stephanopoulos, all those people, evidently they've checked out.
Yeah, because I've contacted Sacramento, LA, Pasadena, West Hollywood. I've been given leads where to email. Nobody's returned my messages yet, and I want to make this
they will. They will.
available. Yeah,
It takes a few days. But
I
they
guess
will.
it does. Yeah,
Well, how do you like my hat?
I was
Designed by Wendy, our very own Wendy. Hi, Wendy.
I was just about to compliment you on that hat. I watched your show the day you were unwrapping your gift and taking the hat out, and I said, "Oh, that is a Whimsy hat. If ever there was a Whimsy hat."
Yes, Wendy Burt is the designer of this hat.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's got my herbs. It's got the whole psychic kitty cat. It's got the whole.
Oh my God, yeah. I'm looking at it right now. I didn't even see the kitty cat, the psychic kitty cat. Is that Mila?
Well, it's a cat. It's got to be Mila. And
It
you can
has
see
to be.
the herbs. Yes. Yes,
Uh-huh.
it's all, if worse comes to worse, if I'm cooking and I run out of spices, I can just break open the hat and start pouring it in the soup.
Well, it's practical as well as aesthetically pleasing. It's more than just a fashion statement. And I love the plume, the feather you have in your cap, Whimsy.
Yeah. So I wanted to make a quick announcement that we have a book of the month with Judy Jamerson. Judy Ann Jamerson is our author. We were going to have her today on the 1st, but we bumped it up to the 7th because we don't want people to miss the debate, which starts at 6 p.m. So they're kicking us off out of here at 6 p.m. sharp. Did you know that?
I did know that, and I understand. In fact, I even have my television here in the background on without the sound. Periodically checking. It's supposed to start promptly at 6, and I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this. It's going to
Well,
be interesting. For one thing, did you know that Tim Walz, when Kamala was vetting her potential candidates, he actually said, "I am a bad debater." He admitted that to her. And I find that hard to believe because he's such a charismatic speaker and he's so funny and he's so intelligent.
Well, I
he's
think
doing
he
well.
just needs to be real. And when the other guy says things which are stupid and absurd, I think he just needs to point out that they're stupid and absurd and laugh a lot and just use a lot of comedy. He's evidently in the news because he made some controversial statements. I guess Tim Walz claimed he was in.
Tiananmen Square.
Yes, I don't know if you saw that. Let me go ahead and put that up
I
on.
saw that. I think he was legitimately in Hong Kong at the time, though, wasn't he? This
Well,
was in
this is
middle of '89 when that happened.
right. Waltz misleadingly claims to have been in Hong Kong during period tied to Tiananmen Square massacre. Multiple news reports indicate that Democratic vice presidential, a misleading claim, evidently. So we'll see. It could be something petty. Who knows? But
Yeah.
these are the kinds of things we need to expect
Mhm.
going into these debates.
Oh, exactly. Especially with the rich treasure trove of material he's got to use on JD Vance as far as misquotes and lies and so forth. So JD's probably going to use anything he can throw at him. And that may very well come up tonight.
Yeah, like tampons in the bathroom and supporting transgender surgeries in babies and crazy stuff.
Oh, crazy, crazy stuff.
And here it is, the polls about Walz and JD Vance. I think most people are feeling like Vance is less liked. He has a really strong negative rating.
Well, I read that it's an historic low for a vice presidential candidate to be this disliked. And he's also, it was someone today, was it Rachel Farrah Griffiths who was saying on a podcast, he's likely even less qualified than Dan Quayle and Sarah Palin were. He's been junior senator of Ohio for only 18 months. He just does not have the background.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that because a lot of people feel that, let me do it that way so you guys can see it a little better. A lot of people feel like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk are playing Donald Trump, that they plan on getting rid of Donald Trump and putting Vance in there. And that Vance is really an extension of Peter Thiel and Elon Musk. What do you think about that?
Well, I find that terrifying. I think he's completely unqualified to be president. That's for sure. And he would undoubtedly be nothing but a puppet. He's already just a parrot for Donald Trump. Just repeats the lies of Trump and does what he's told. If Rachel Farrah Griffiths was pointing out, because she was in the White House, very much part of the Trump administration, and she said at least with Mike Pence, he would intervene. He would step in and say, "No, you shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong. You've got to stop this." And she worries that JD Vance would just go along with anything. So I could see that.
Well, it's terrifying that we are missing the days of Pence as a VP, isn't it?
Yes.
How much lower can we sink?
I know. The man who narrowly avoided being hung gallows in front of the Capitol by his president. I mean, I'm surprised that's not being addressed more. In fact, I'm surprised January 6th in general is not being addressed more. If I were Kamala Harris, I would be reminding people daily of that with TV commercials and things. That should never be forgotten.
Don't you think that's not our point? Don't you think that's not our point, though? Don't you think that our FBI and our Justice Department should have been dealing with this psychopath 4 years ago?
Of course they should have. Of course they should have. But we just can't let that psychopath back in office again. It's just unthinkable.
How could this have happened that a guy burns the Capitol, tries to burn it to the ground and lynch his running mate, and
Yeah.
everybody seems to be okay with that? What does
I,
that say?
I was just having a conversation earlier today with someone. I said, I find these supporters far more frightening than Trump himself. Even if Trump is out of the picture, these people are still around, and it's a huge block of people.
Right.
How could anybody think like this?
Well, the other scary thing is, how could anybody fund this? Think about the money, $40 million a week or whatever it is being pulled in from America First, which is similar to the Nazi pact, the pro-Nazi pact of Ford Motor Company, when they were running around trying to shut down schools as nest of communists, right? They were nest of communists and running around they had an America PAC, an America First PAC, which was basically, this is kind of a recreation of it, where the neo-Nazis are back in doing the same exact thing that they did when Ford was back, Hitler's agenda.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, didn't that go back to the days of Henry Ford himself?
Yeah, that's what I mean, Henry Ford.
Yeah, that's what you meant. Yeah. I'm not incredibly well versed in that, but I am familiar with it, some of the history.
I'm not really well versed in it either, but Rachel Maddow covered it on Monday, and so it was interesting to see her take on it.
I'd like to watch that. I'll look for that on YouTube.
Yeah. So who do we have joining us today? Did you want to say hi in the romper room, in the taco truck together? Break open your taco. Let's say hi to the people who joined us.
Let me see here. We have Terry, we have Rose, we have Karen, we have Terry, we have Pam. Let me see here. This keeps moving on me. I said Pam, we have what a great name, Goddess Val. I like that name. You're from greetings from Southern Florida. Oh, you have to. How did you survive the hurricane? Here through there, it cut a path through, the whole southeast of America. Even hit my hometown in Virginia very, very badly.
You were telling me that.
Yeah, and I'm seeing who else do we have here. You have to pardon me. It moves on me as I'm reading.
We have. Well, I see we have the incredibly loyal Joel Tilson here.
Hey, Joel.
He is making it nice and big for us to be able to read them. And of course, as we mentioned, we give a special shout out to Wendy Burt that helped design my costume. I think this is going to be my official hat now for the show. We're doing a photo. Chuck doesn't know this stuff, but I'll be in your neck of the woods in the next couple months. We have a photo shoot we're going to be doing.
Oh my God, you didn't tell me.
Well, we have to do the new season photo shoots and that sort of thing.
That's wonderful. And you're coming down in cooler weather this time.
Yes. Expect me down there around November, December, probably after the election.
That's a great time of year. I look forward to it.
I'm off here. Oh, yes, there I am.
We have so much fun.
I'm leaning this way, yes.
The last time we had Korean barbecue and saw the Barbie movie.
We could do something like, am I going to get you in the swimming pool? He was just like, I don't want. I think you were too sweaty and miserable even to get into the swimming pool.
Yeah.
The pool did not have adequate covering. I think we would have looked like lobsters. We would have looked like lobsters.
Yeah.
What was?
We had so much going on anyway.
Yeah, but we had like 80% humidity, something like that. But I
think it was horrific.
I'll stay at the same hotel, and then we'll set up a shoot. But this is going to be the hat. Yeah, this, and I need a funky jacket to go with it. Ooh. I need like a Patch Adams jacket to go with it.
What might be great, like a black magician's cape.
Yes, I was thinking about that. But I also have my doctor's jacket, Dr. Whimsy Anderson jacket. Mm-hmm. So I could put that on, which is a little creepy. But maybe you're right. Maybe we need to go. I was thinking like something like a homeless patch kind of a thing would be cool.
That would be cute.
I throw magician stuff because I am. like
like a Dolly
gorgeous.
Parton coat of many colors, like a jacket made out of all
Yes,
quilt work patches and things, you know.
that might be
Oh,
fun.
that could be fun.
Okay, so on to the next conversation. It's getting to be a little bit dark out there. Would you not agree?
Oh, do you mean literally or figuratively speaking?
Oh, well, both. It is
Yeah.
5 p.m. But and yes, what is it? 8 p.m. over on the East Coast.
Mhm.
Have you heard about the conflict? Now, is this a loss of the keys? We talk about the 13 keys and Professor Lichtman,
Yeah.
major armed conflict. Are we looking at the Democrats losing one of its keys? You want to talk a little
You
bit
know,
about
that's
that?
an interesting point. You know, I'm familiar with this story. I also know about the man with the keys, but as I recall from watching that video on YouTube, Kamala Harris was so substantially ahead in the number of keys that do you think even losing one key would make that much difference?
I think she was ahead by, yeah, 4 keys, something like this.
Yeah.
Well, we've got this going on. Thank God, Iron Dome was able to intercept everything coming in. Now it goes back to the remote view and the video I did yesterday. Iran never wants to be involved directly because they're cowards, and that's the way a bully is. Instead, they were being shot from, as you know, because we spoke about it before the show, coming from northern Syria.
Yeah.
Any chance you know why the Fatah and Hezbollah were able to make insurgents into Lebanon and North Syria have anything to do with the former administration?
Apparently it does because our former president effed up, to put it politely. I mean, some are now saying it's one of the most disastrous actions of his presidency. You know, there was it wasn't a treaty, was it? It was some sort of agreement that
It was the Iran deal.
between the U.S., Iran, let me see that. I'm trying to remember here. It was. I was looking through my notes here. Yeah, it was definitely. I'm even wondering if it's going to haunt him during the election because there was an agreement as far as a number of things, but the main thing was that Iran would not build a nuclear bomb. You know, normally it would take about a year to build such a thing, but it's been speculated that they have been gathering enough workable uranium they could
Yep.
actually create one within 10 to 15 days now. But while we had this agreement in place, at least they were complying with that. We had reason to believe there were no nuclear bombs being made. Now we know this could be a reality as much as within 2 weeks. And that could
Right.
change.
So Trump didn't replace the Iran deal with anything that was going to secure.
No. He
He
used
just
the
got
word,
rid of it.
you know what he did? He used the words, quote unquote, something better. You know, like about
This
his healthcare plan. Oh, I've got it. What were the words? It's in the. I've got ideas or something. So you know, we know how Trump operates, and that's what he said. It was something better. He had nothing in place. Nothing.
Yeah, and the other thing, what about him pulling troops out of Iraq and northern Syria? How has that destabilized the area?
How has that destabilized the area? Well, it's
Well,
certainly.
you're looking at Iraq now, looking and becoming an ally of Iran, and their parliament has become increasingly extreme pro-Iran. They're crying about the death of the Hezbollah leader Nasrallah.
Yeah.
So when we left a disaster, and we did not leave a free functional Iraq. We left an Iraq that was toppled by extremists, and it was actually under Saddam Hussein, where they had a secularist that was controlling all of the warring factions.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the things we had, at least there were agreements that there would be relief from sanctions. And that was another thing. And now Iran is becoming powerful enough in their own right with the oil sales to China, the fact that they're backing Russia with the Ukrainian war. They're less dependent on the US now and sanction relief. That's happening as well.
Yeah, so my feeling is that everything we're experiencing right now had to do, number one, with getting rid of the Iran deal, which freed up Iran to do
Yeah,
whatever the heck they liked. And the other thing is we began pulling U.S. troops out of the area, creating a vacuum. The Middle East
yeah,
abhors a vacuum, right? There's
yeah,
too much ego, too much power in play.
yeah.
Do
But
do you
de-
think, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, definitely relations between the U.S. and Iran have eroded considerably since Trump's withdrawal. That's
Yeah.
and any effort to stabilize this has been severely complicated, and by this recent exchange of attacks.
Well, this is the one thing I'm disappointed by Biden is that Biden went along with it because it's what Americans wanted. They wanted U.S. troops out of northern Syria and Iraq. They wanted their
Hmm.
kids to come home from Afghanistan. But look what happens
Hmm.
when U.S. soldiers come home. If we're not there protecting the line, if we're not there protecting the trade routes, this
Yeah,
is precisely, there's no reason our enemies shouldn't move in and take over. And that's basically what happened to the Kurds. The Kurds were left to be massacred. Yeah, we
mm,
abandoned the Kurds,
yeah,
we abandoned everybody. All right, so the last thing that it's just,
yeah.
what's interesting is that people are defending Trump as if Trump was pro-Israel because he moved an embassy,
Oh
but
God,
it's like Mars attacks. You tell people what they want to hear, but
yeah.
meanwhile, nobody's looking at what you're actually doing. And what he was doing was opening up trade to uh, enemy countries,
Hmm.
Iran, Syria,
North Korea.
Iraq, yeah,
Yeah.
and Russia, with devastating consequences. I think that the U.S. has to go in, and they have to permanently have to be part of the peacekeeping troops in that area. Otherwise, you're going to put all the pressure on Israel to secure the Suez Canal, which is
Hmm.
not going to work. And that's precisely why we see ships being hit as they leave the Suez Canal. You can't put all the expectation on Israel and then complain about giving money to Israel to do precisely what we're giving money to Israel to do, which is to secure the trade routes. Either you come in and do it and help us, but you can't expect Israel to do it all. If Israel
No,
is gone, the trade routes are gone. You
that's going to be
know,
catastrophic for the entire world, the whole world
right?
economy.
Right. So, if you want to spend $20 for a loaf of bread, and that brings us back to the next conversation, which is
Yeah,
dock workers negotiating because it's costing $30,000 to fill a crate because because these companies are charging so much in shipping fees. And part of that has to do with the fact that the Suez Canal is no longer safe. You want to talk about it?
mm. I didn't realize that about the Suez Canal being. Is the
Yeah.
Suez Canal still in operation at the moment?
Sure, but they're being hit by Houthi and other terrorist groups
Yeah,
because the US left. I don't know what people thought was going to happen. This is how you maintain the trade routes. We've been talking
yeah,
about this for over 5 years.
yeah.
And well, we're going to leave our trade routes and bring everybody home. Great. A loaf of bread's now going to cost you $20
Hmm.
because who's wanted to take control of Ukraine and who wanted to take control of the grain? Russia and the oil. There's a lot of oil in Ukraine. So,
Yeah,
I just don't think that people had the education or knowledge or understanding of what they were saying and what the implications would be if we didn't have U.S. based in that part of the world taking care of U.S. interest. But here's the latest on the dock workers that they're negotiating a strike. And the good news is that the dock workers came out. Uh, the the Their union is backing Harris.
hmm.
45,000 dock workers went on strike on Tuesday. 36 U.S. ports are being affected, and
Yeah,
possibly ports in Canada as well,
yeah.
evidently.
Now, are all these ports on the east coast of America and Canada? The reason I
No, I
ask.
mean, Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the reason I asked that is because I was hearing on the news something about how companies like Walmart, for example, are having shipments diverted to the west coast of America, to ports there. But then when you mentioned that about the Suez Canal, I'm thinking, how easily could that even be done? It'd have to be like the old days where you went all the way down to the bottom of South America near Antarctica and then go back around to get to the West
Right.
Coast. I don't know how they would even do that.
Well, they're experimenting with shipping drones. And this is something that we've talked about. We've done remote views on it, that some of the drones are going to be able to carry heavy cargo. And I think some of the UFO drone, large drone-like structures we're seeing are actually experimental aircraft that are
Mhm.
going to be used, thank God, to ship containers. So you're basically going to have container drones, and
Right.
that's going to help a lot. And if you can have like you have Starlink and it's flowing across the sky, you're probably going to have a link of drones going
Uh-huh.
across the sky
Wow.
being used in order to do this type of shipment. We
Yeah.
do have some flight shipment, which is more expensive than
Yeah.
ground cargo, but because the container prices have gone up so much,
Yeah.
it's gotten ridiculous. Ports being affected are from Texas to Maine.
Yeah. I'm thinking as expensive if as it would be, it still would probably be less than the billions of dollars estimated to be lost by this strike. This
Yeah.
could very well cut into the Christmas season, which is the prime retail time for most businesses, shopping. Even Amazon could be affected by this, if there's no merchandise.
Well, the good news is probably Christmas won't be because many things have already been shipped, evident
Mhm.
from what they're saying.
Yeah.
So that is all I have in terms of the news. I'm sure that there's a lot of questions that people are
Well,
having. Did you have anything else you wanted to
yeah.
add before we did the
Here's a
impasse here and did some
Well,
blitzes?
I
Yeah.
was just going to say, here's an interesting comment here. Democrats already lost the foreign policy key, so they won't lose because of the Middle East. In regards to what you were saying earlier about will this
Wouldn't it be
weaken this?
a major event? Isn't there something about like a major
Oh,
event, like something is one of the keys?
I'm trying to remember. I think you're right on that. That
You know what my feeling about this is? I think that it's grandstanding. Like I said, I think that the Iranians are coward. I think they're terrified of Tehran being bombed. Yeah, they're fine to keep the good times rolling so long as they don't have to be in the middle of the war. They'll fuel the war, but the war is far away from them. But when the war comes to their door, when Tehran is being bombed, I think it's going to be a very different story. And evidently, uh, how do you say his name? Hamani, the supreme leader is in hiding along with everybody else. They've ran into bunkers because he knows he's next on the list. I mean, a lot of the terrorists have been killed.
God.
So, the bully is the most frightened person in the room.
Mm-hmm. Always the most insecure.
Yeah, the most insecure and the most frightened in the room.
Mhm.
Any comments coming in that you wanted to mention, Chuck, or are we ready
Let
to
me
do?
see here. I just thought that was interesting because we had been talking about the keys. Let me see. I have to scroll through the comments here. This is my weakness. I'm listening to you, looking in the camera, and then I have to remember to look over at the comments here. Well, Wendy was asking, do they have the components to make a nuclear bomb? Yes. Yes. That's one of the things that was in one of the news stories I was reading today. They have enough workable uranium that in theory they could make a bomb within the next 10 to 15 days. And I read also they have enough to make an estimated they called them explosive devices. They use the word bomb, but they could make 3 of them. Meaning, could it be one of those briefcase nuclear bombs or something like that, a missile? I don't know.
Wow. Okay, well, if anyone has any questions for us, if you want us to blitz away, the debate starts tentatively at 6 p.m. So, they take a few minutes though. They don't. They usually start around 6:15, but we'll be out of here hopefully by 6 p.m. We
I've
just
got my
didn't.
TV on. I'll tell you when it starts.
I wanted to mention that our book of the month, again, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, is Belle by Judy Ann Jamerson. She will be here at 6 o'clock next week. The reason I didn't want her to come this week is I just didn't want her to have to compete with I knew that people were going to watch the debates instead. So,
Including us.
yeah. So to give her the attention that she deserves, she will
Yeah.
be on the 7th, October 7th at 6 p.m. If you want to be part of our book club, order Bell is through Eckhart Press. And anything else I want to say? It's about compassion and about learning to have a heart, for people. Why do people wind up homeless on the streets, alcoholism? Everybody has a story. Nobody wants to wind up like that. Traumatized people being re-traumatized, how we judge one another, how we hurt one another, and how we all need to have a little bit more compassion, a little bit more heart. And all of that, I think, is a contrast between what we see from, say, the Harris campaign versus Trump. Trump has no heart. He really has no heart,
No.
does he? At least
No.
I don't think.
Well, his niece, Mary Trump, said, "My uncle has not one single redeeming value or quality. Not one." She repeated that, said, "Not one."
Well, that's pretty sad. I also
Yeah.
wanted to give gratitude to the creative director who helped design all of our merch, including the beautiful top that Chuck is wearing and the beautiful cup that I am displaying with our friendly aliens. Yes, we come. I like the good aliens. There are bad aliens and good aliens. I like
Are you a
they're
good alien or a bad alien?
strawberries. I think the aliens need to learn to grow. Can't they grow their own strawberries? I don't understand why they have to steal ours. Can't they have like greenhouses on their spacecraft? Doesn't that
Well,
make sense?
I think that makes a lot of sense. I was going
So
to first say, well, maybe their planets don't have the environmental conditions to grow strawberries, but they can have a greenhouse.
what couldn't they do? Look, they're supposed to be this advanced species. I have a question for people who have heard
Mhm.
about the whole aliens stealing our fruit. This is a real thing. My question is, why can't they just have a greenhouse on their spaceship? Anyone who knows anything about UFOs, and then they won't steal our strawberries.
You know something?
How tough could technology be?
Remember that author we had a few months ago on the show who was communicating with aliens? Remember
Yeah,
him? I wish we could put the question to him.
we should
And
bring
have
them back.
him put the yes, and say, "Hey, why aren't you people
They're
growing your own
carbon-based.
strawberries?" You know?
They're clearly a carbon-based life form because
Mhm.
when they got the one at that crashed, they fed him a green smoothie, and he did great
Yeah.
on it. They live in caves, so yes, they are acclimated to this environment. They are stealing fruit. So my question is this: what's the point? I really want to know, why can't they just have their own greenhouses?
It is a good question. I'd like to ask that. Everything you're mentioning, like green things, red things like strawberries have their specific phytonutrients. And I wonder if there's something there that they
Well,
need for their life forms.
radiation exposure.
That's
That's
a good
what
point.
people, because the same thing happened to a friend of mine. We were talking about this, and there was some delicate orange fruit like apricots. And a
Uh-huh.
friend of hers had this beautiful apricot tree. And she said, "Oh, and she used to come and get apricots." And he said, "Sure, take whatever you like." And she went to the back, and there was not a single apricot on the
Oh,
entire tree or on the ground.
those
So that was
darn aliens.
Yes, it was the same thing, like not even a pit. So when they take everything.
Yeah.
Uh, Witnesses, or they'll see a craft, or they'll see weird lights, and then they'll come out to their farm, and everything will be gone. That's some freaky stuff. This is
Well,
not cat mutilation. This is
yeah.
just taking all the fruits. But what we were thinking is it might have to do with what you're saying, is getting all those concentrated antioxidants because of radiation
Yeah.
exposure.
And of
They're
course we
probably
know,
being exposed to massive amounts of radiation.
yeah. And we know that algae algae in particular, and things like blue-green algae, chlorella, spirulina, all these things protect you against radiation, help to absorb radiation. So I hadn't even
Right.
thought about that.
Well, the captive Roswell alien was given a green smoothie because he became weakened, and they fed it to him, according to an eyewitness, and they say it revived him. Like, yes, this is good. I can have this. So it goes back to the whole theory about cave dwellers and algae consumption, etc. And it's just like a cow grows eating grass, and it never gets tired of eating grass. So if you had a limited diet, if you were a cave dweller, that would probably be the very thing you wanted. And something sweet, like a sweet grass, or slightly sweeter, that's high in antioxidants,
Yeah.
like strawberry, must just taste like the most unbelievable candy.
Well, I'm thinking also the glucose,
Yes,
perhaps,
and
just for
glucose.
energy, brain function. There must be connections there.
Yeah, and also they don't have high muscle mass. The aliens tended to be much less muscle mass.
Uh-huh.
And you would think with high brain activity, you would need high amounts of glucose because they tend to
Yeah.
have a larger brain and less muscle mass. And
Yeah.
the two organs that demand the most glucose is the heart and the brain.
Yes. Yes.
So it would
That
be
occurred to
interesting to
me.
see. Yeah,
Well, I know that normally the brain also needs protein and needs fats, such as omegas, that type of thing. But it sounds like the diet these aliens favor, very low protein, but
low
I don't.
protein, high glucose, and high omegas, because there
Yeah.
are omegas in sea vegetables and swamp
Oh,
water,
yes, of course. Yeah.
which would feed the brain, and
Yeah.
also vitamin B2 from the fungi.
Yes.
So it's completely sustainable to that type of a life form.
Yeah. It's also an unbelievably healthy diet. Just
Yeah,
human beings could thrive from a diet like that. Well, we obviously need more protein, but certainly a high antioxidant plant-based diet, as you say yourself, 80% plant, 20%, meat proteins, that type of thing. We'd all do better.
well, I think with spirulina is high in protein, so they are getting protein, but
That is
but
true.
it's
Yeah.
plant-based. It's kind of goes back to T.A. McLaughlin's book about connecting with the higher being aliens that were saying, humans have a lot of potential, but if they want to save this planet, they got to get off the meat,
Mhm.
and that particular species was vegan, and it goes back to, and that they had been bred, they were hybrids from cave dwellers, which would be like Homo habilis, these species that we thought went extinct, but they didn't go extinct. They went deeper into the caves
Yeah.
and survived on a vegan diet. It's just so cool. And what's also cool is when you look at the physiology, like Linda Kingsley has an image. She says, fruit is an expense to the point I can't buy it. So someone please tell the aliens I like fruit too.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like the watermelon that got stolen from that woman. That particular species of alien is different than there's a couple different species of alien, but that one is the one that has the big ears and is like 6 foot tall.
Uh-huh.
There was film footage of that one waving a car away out of Australia. I don't know if you
Uh-huh.
saw that.
I didn't
alien.
see that. Yeah.
That
You may
slapped
have told me
hands.
about it.
Yeah, it's freaky. They have big ears. And again, these look like hominids, which goes back to the whole theory about hybrids and inbreeding. But that was the type of species that was stealing the watermelon. Again, it goes back to these red fruits, beta carotenes, antioxidants,
Yeah.
high in B vitamins. Yes, niacin is a type of B vitamin. And niacin is helpful for a couple of things, including mental health.
Mental health.
Yeah,
Even has antidepressant qualities.
yeah. For that reason, we
Nice,
give
and
high dose
lowers
niacin.
cholesterol, helps circulation. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Also makes you flush red, interestingly enough. Your
Yeah,
skin can get red.
it will be really interesting because it looks like there are multiple species, multiple hybrids. If you look at Lou Elizondo, and some of them hostile, some of them not hostile, this phenomenon of them eating our food and in some cases stealing the fruit.
Mhm.
Couldn't they just knock on the door? So I guess they can't knock on the door and say, I'm really weak. I've been traveling for a long time and I
Mhm.
just got to get some glucose in me. Do you mind
Yeah.
do you mind if I take a couple of your strawberries?
Yeah, I like to believe they're benign creatures. Maybe they don't think they're doing anything wrong. They're just taking what they need, or they're looking at it like as a communal thing, like what's yours is mine, that type of thing.
Thank you. That was the thing that I was going to mention is that in a communal or a hive mind, if they're living in caves,
Yeah,
in a in that kind of, they probably wouldn't have the same concept.
right.
I need glucose now. I need these watermelons now
Yeah,
for my community. We need this. We need glucose now. We need antioxidants now. We're
yeah.
dehydrated. It's like that guy that was found 5 days. He had touched a ship. He saw something glowing. He went out and touched it. The next thing he knew, he was on the craft. I don't know if you heard about this guy.
No, no, I didn't
He
hear about
became
this.
hysteric. There were some grays there. They had 5 fingers, and they tried to help him, but he punched one. And then they put him into some kind of comatose or something. But when they released him, he was naked, walking the streets. He called an operator or something, but he was severely dehydrated
Ooh,
when they found him. So, it makes me think also that whatever kind of traveling they're doing, it goes back to they need water.
uh-huh.
They need fluids, they need water, they need
Yes.
antioxidants, and they need glucose. And so the perfect thing for that alien at that time was he saw that watermelon. I got to take this back to the ship. It would have been the perfect food
Yes.
for him at that
Yes.
time.
And something sustainable that would last for several days if need be.
Oh, that's right. Good point. Because you can store them for a couple of days, break them open, and then
That's what
also
I'm
if
thinking.
they don't have teeth or they have small teeth, that was the other thing
Oh,
that
yes.
out.
Good
So
point.
they would be able to uh, get nutrition from these foods and they don't require a lot of chewing.
Yeah. Rose just made a comment. They must have visited California a lot in the 30s. Japanese had strawberry farms. Intriguing. It'd be interesting to know if they had
Well,
disappearances of their
yeah,
strawberries. Yeah.
yeah, California and that area, the whole valley area, is a major hotspot for UFOs.
Yeah. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
How intriguing. No, it's fascinating. But I was thinking also, when scientists, NASA, when we're sending probes to other planets where it's exploring the universe, the thing they always look for is water, because water is considered to be the universal thing
Right. And
to support
hybrid,
life.
right. And hybrids are carbon-based life forms. So what are they going to need? They're going to need water
Yeah.
and glucose. So we figured it out, Chuck, you and me, just two people joking around. We figured out the mystery of the water, of the frozen fruit,
What?
of the stolen fruit.
The
Yes.
frozen fruit.
Well, frozen. You
Hey,
could,
they might have frozen food too. Maybe they'll
well,
raid the grocery stores.
well, well, that's the thing. They can't just go into a grocery store. They can't, if you need
Oh,
it and
yeah,
you need it now and you're scanning the grid and you're going to say
yeah.
watermelon patch there, go, and you're going to grab it, or strawberry,
Well, that makes
let's go
sense.
now, and you're going to go and you're going to take what you need. And
Well,
it goes back to what you said. If you're a part of a community
hmm
that doesn't think in terms of
well,
theft or money, it's like we share in our community. That makes so much sense. Oh my God, I hadn't
yeah.
even thought.
Well,
We just
I
that everybody's going to be like us.
I was
So
just making a joke there, but I just realized, haven't we discussed how these creatures prefer to be in the dark? They need to be in dark, like
right,
nighttime,
they have to
cave
have special.
dwelling.
Yeah,
So the last thing in the world they're going to want to do is go into a grocery store with harsh fluorescent lights and things. I just realized how stupid that was, even though I was joking. That wouldn't happen. They would go like out at night to watermelon patches or strawberry trees or something. And maybe
strawberry.
they also wanted strawberry bushes, yeah, or maybe just to be incognito, to be in hiding, to be discreet while they're doing it.
Well, let's do the Impass prayer. You guys want to do some blitzes, and then we are going to have a brief conversation about ghost and hauntings because it is October and we're doing a countdown to Halloween.
Mm.
So let's do the Impass prayer. We're starting late because we got into the whole fruit thing. And
Yeah.
oh, yes, because another friend of mine, same thing happened, disappearing fruit.
Mm,
This is a real phenomenon. I mean,
yeah.
why don't they take the oh, I know why they can't take the pumpkins.
Why?
You know why they can't take? Because they can't chew them. They're
Yeah.
hard.
Even after they cut them open, could they do that?
No,
Because
it's too hard.
oh,
Watermelon, they have almost no teeth. There would be no purpose for them to have teeth because they were living on swamp water.
right. But
Spirulina.
I would think they'd have ability to cut into things though, to get to the inside where it is soft.
Yeah, but it's not mushy watermelon. Watermelon meat is hard until you bake it.
Wait, you're talking about pumpkin or watermelon?
A pumpkin. I mean
Pumpkin.
pumpkin.
Oh, okay. Then that's my naivety. I was under the impression what was inside a watermelon was kind of. I mean, here I'm doing it. A
Well,
pumpkin would be kind of mushy and soft, but no, you have to
well,
bake it.
it's mushy. The seed part is mushy, but if you had no teeth, you wouldn't be able to eat it. So the pumpkin
Yeah.
you wouldn't be able. And then once you could cook it, but they need fluids now.
Right.
I would
Right.
think the perfect thing would be a watermelon.
Yeah, watermelon would be perfect. Makes
All right,
absolute
let's
sense.
do the Impasse prayer. Any quick questions? Let it rip. Okay.
Okay.
I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen.
Amen.
Like, I'm not really totally afraid of aliens, except I don't want them to visit me. I'm a timid person. Like, I would freak out if from a distance they don't scare me.
Hmm.
I don't
Even
know
if
how.
one approached you and he was friendly, like ET in the movie, something like that, a very benign, loving creature, perhaps. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it just um, so people are wanting to know if we can find out about, maybe we could throw on why we could try why aliens steal our fruit. That's kind of funny, but that could be
Yeah,
our.
well, it's a good question. I'd like to know myself. I'm just curious what's going to jump
Do
out
you want to
here.
throw some cards and see if we can get an answer to that? I
Well,
think we figured it
I'm
out. I think
stuffling through them. I just keep doing this till whatever drops out on my
I'm going to
table
do
here.
that too.
Yeah.
Why are people saying this? Maybe people are crazy and imagining it, and it's not real. But I don't think that's true.
Well, okay.
Or using it as fuel? That was the question.
I have 3 here. Came up. Should I go ahead and say what I got here?
Yeah.
I got the first card I got was solitude, meaning that this is a very private, quiet thing that they do. Solitude. It's something very intrinsic. It's soulful. There's a very basic purpose to it, because the next card I got was community, and I'm sure the community applies to the aliens together as a community, as a group. And the third card I got was epiphany, and I take that to mean that these are spiritually advanced creatures. They're very intuitive, psychic, knowing, and the components of these fruits help to elevate their ability. Hence the epiphany. That's what I'm getting. It's very important to literally fuel that within themselves for their community. But the solitude card, I just get from that they do this very quietly, very discreetly, for want of a better word of saying it, without fanfare. They don't want to draw attention to themselves, hence solitude.
I would think that they would be more likely to take organic fruit than pesticide based. Like
Yeah.
this woman, it was her own personal watermelon patch, and she was just sitting there. She had her garden, and she was just playing on her phone, and then she saw the craft, and she saw the alien, and he had come out of the patch, and she pretended like she didn't see him, and he went into the craft and left. It like disappeared. This was a really interesting remote for me. They have tried to grow in their atmosphere without much success. That was the first thing, attempting
Uh-huh.
to grow it. They've been attempting to
Yeah.
grow. They're having problems, maybe because of the atmosphere, G force, or whatever. They are doing experiments. It's just doesn't turn out the same if they're not growing on Earth in that
Yeah.
environment. And so that was the first thing.
Yeah.
And then the second thing they say to us is it's just good for our health. I mean, this
Mhm.
is there are everything gets old and dies, even aliens, even we get old. We get exposed to a lot of elemental things. And so Archangel Raphael, it's a health issue for us. So
Mhm.
the first is this was inverted. We've tried to grow these
Mhm.
foods where we're at. We're having
Yeah.
problems because environment, the oxygen levels, etc. We're having problems on the ship. It just we've had multiple problems. It's just easier for us to just take what we need. So this was the first thing that came up, and then the other issue is our health. So it's vital to our health. We take it if, in plain words, if they're severely dehydrated or if they're getting radiation poisoning. We don't like to do it very often, but we do it, and when we do
Mhm.
it, it's because of our health. And this was
Mhm.
associated with the strength card. We get sick, just like you get sick. We get sick. We get sick from
Yeah.
radiation. Our glucose levels drop. We don't like to do this too often. We're not successful in harvesting and growing these things on our own. Archangel Raphael and the strength card, we get sick. And to be honest with you, it's controversial in our community because we want it so badly. It's the equivalent of an addiction for some of us, where
Mhm.
we want it so badly it becomes like a drug, and it's actually caused conflict and fighting in our community. So
You know,
they bring down strawberries, and then then the community begins to fight over it because it's such a special thing, and failures in the ability to grow, which
yeah.
makes sense. It would be hard to replicate the Earth's atmosphere.
Well,
Very
I was
interesting.
just thinking right offhand, that's almost metaphorical for like here on Earth, our war over things like oil, things that become very essential to us, and it becomes a very high commodity. It becomes scarce. And we've literally had wars over such things, like what you're describing there, people fighting over these fruits because they're so scarce and so desirable.
Yeah, and that's really interesting that we've tried to grow them. We've tried to grow them on the ships. We've tried to grow them in our own atmosphere,
Yeah.
and our experiments have. These experiments have not been very
Well, what that
successful.
reminds me of, I was talking on this my show yesterday about how Thomas Jefferson brought wine, grapevines back from France to Virginia to start his own winery because he realized because of the latitude, the longitude, the climate, the soil conditions, it was very similar to France, so they could grow. But sometimes you can take things like that and go like further south, further north, they won't grow, or soil is different or something. So I can only imagine the difficulties of going to another planet or trying to do this on a spaceship. You just
That
can't
was really
replicate the conditions on Earth.
That was really disturbing. This was interesting to have this be the growth card. But this, like when they come in with the ship and they say we've got watermelons, that it causes almost like an addictive response,
Yeah.
uh, where they were just like, I want one, I want one.
Well, it's interesting that they have strife like we do. They fight. I don't know if they have actual wars, but it does sound like they have
But that,
conflicts.
yeah,
Yeah.
strawberry. It's like something that you and I just went and bought myself some strawberry. They're
I
on
love them.
sale
Yeah.
now. Me too. I put them in my smoothies. I've made you smoothies,
Oh,
the
yeah.
strawberries. And I'm thinking, wow, something that you and I would just take for granted, but for them in a limited capacity to be able to
Yeah.
grow these things, it's the most amazing. It's like a sugar plum to them. It's like
Yeah.
fun is
Well, you
something
know
that
something? I eat a fruit bowl every night. That's my late night snack. My grocery store has this thing where you can buy, if you buy 3 fruit bowls, you get 1 free. So right now in my fridge, I have fruit bowls with like orange slices
oh,
and
good
grapes
for
and
you.
strawberries. It's so healthy. And you get that satisfaction of having something sweet late at night, like you're having a treat.
Well, maybe you're part alien.
I've been told that before.
Okay, so this brings us to our closing conversation, which is about ghost and ghost being caught on tape. Do you believe in ghosts?
Ooh, I believe in spirits and souls. When I hear the word ghost, I think of like stereotypical things like the sheet over the head or Casper or something like that. But yeah, if you think of ghosts as spirits, entities, I do. Very much so.
Well, there was some activity in a school in Southeast Cork, Ireland. They thought somebody was breaking in and smashing up the school, so they decided to put a camera in, and this is what the camera captured. Take a look. This is not fake. It was put in by school administration, and there is no explanation.
Whoa. Oh. Yes.
And here's something walking around.
Mm. Whoa.
I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
That's scary. That's really scary. God.
It's not a trick.
Yeah.
It's
You can
just
see that.
so well, I mean, when I was just in Cork like 2 weeks ago, and why this phenomenon happens, I don't know. But poltergeist is a real phenomenon.
Yeah.
What's your theory about it?
Well, we saw a little bit of that ourselves last year. We
Yes.
talked about this yesterday on the show when we went to Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and we went with very sincere intentions to shoot some
Yes.
video pieces. And you remember you were recording me walking down a mausoleum, and there was this light overhead that kept flickering off and on. And we both felt that it was definitely an entity of some kind, or a spirit, or someone saying, "I don't want you here," or whatever they were trying to tell us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that energy I felt of whatever was coming in was angry. And that's the thing I
Yeah.
took away from the film footage out of Cork, was that there it was just destructive, like banging things. And it's a destructive energy. And so it'll be interesting in the coming weeks. We're going to be talking more about ghost and other supernatural phenomenon as we celebrate October and the coming
Yeah.
of Halloween. Did you have a fun time?
Oh, I had a great time. Fun show as always. I love how we go in directions that I'm not quite expecting us to go in, but it's interesting
Yeah.
talking about the aliens and the fruit.
Yeah. Well, everyone, we're going to let you go so that you can go and watch the debate. Knock
I'm
on
looking at my
wood.
TV right now. It's about to start.
It's about to start. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. See you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.